Guys, let's talk about expanding our skill on the copying options. So everybody knows that just by pressing a bind key called C, you will be able to copy the geometry what you have. Okay, so if I have to see here, there is an icon which changes. Okay, click once, and you get the ghost view over here. Another copy, I mean. And if you see that the pointer shows that next to the pointer there is a copy icon also over there. So click once and you get a copy again. And once you copy, the command terminates over there. So if you want to copy again, you got to press C. C is a bind key there. Click and click again. So when I say bind key, it also refers to as a shortcut key or a key which you can press on the keyboard over there. Okay, so this is one simple way of copying. I just click, draw a box using left click, select both, and press the delete button. So now let me see some options of show you some options of copying what you have in your tool. If you see here, there is an icon. There are lots of icons of basic editing options, and this one is for copy. So if you just move your mouse over that button, there is a balloon which pops up saying that this is copy option. Okay, this is one way of clicking. Just click this, come and click your geometry, and you'll be able to copy it again. And if you want to come out of the command, just press escape. Now, apart from this, you also have other options of copying. Okay, so go to edit here, and you have a copy command here as well. So what I'm trying to show here is it's not just one GUI, there are multiple options with which you can practice the copy command over here. Now, again, for example, if I have to show you, if you want to get into a little more advanced options of copying, so what we do is I select this geometry, press C. Okay, so now when I'm pressing C, you see that there is a copy, the pointer changes. Okay, and now I press F3. F3 is an option which will give you the advanced tool editing options over here. There are lots of tool editing options here, but let me just take one at a time and try to explain here. Okay, I'll just collapse all of these. Okay, so now the first thing over here is keep copying. If I click on this, say hide, it gives me an option of repeatedly copying it. It doesn't end. Okay, the command continues as is. Okay, so this gives me an option of copying multiple times. The reason why we use this, there could be scenarios in your design wherein you have to copy lots of lines, lots of devices, lots of geometries. Okay, it comes case by case basis. Okay, that's when you end up, using this scenario of keep copying or continuous copying. Now I have shown this option to you using the F3 window over here. Okay, so now I'll press escape to come out of this. Now I'll just select these guys and I will delete this. Now I'll show you another way in which you can copy continuously. So what I'll do is I will just try to measure this first. Okay, I'll create some gap so that I want to show that if at all you want to copy, have a consistency in your copying with equal amounts of spacing, how do you do that? So I'll press C, F3. I'll just come out of this keep copying option first. Okay, just say hide. Okay, now what I will do, I will use another feature of copy called as repeat copy. Okay, now this is the button here. If you see here, there are 3 R's here. Recursive copy, we also call it as recursive copy, or we also call it as repeat copy. Okay, so how do you do this? So to do this, you need the instance which you want to copy and a reference point. So I'm just I just created 2 copies of the same instance here. I created a reference, which means what? There is a gap of 0.1 micron between these 2 geometries. Now, if when I'm copying, right, I want the other geometry also to be exactly spaced at 0.1 micron. And I don't want the the headache of measuring this gap again and again. So for that reason, I will use a feature called as recursive copy or repeat copy. Now to get rid of the scale, you press Shift K. Okay. So what I'll do is I will select this, click on recursive copy. Now I'll select the first reference point here. I will click on this edge. Let me zoom in a bit more. Click on this edge. Click once and I will click here again. Click. Okay. Zoom out, that is Shift Z. Now, without coming out of the command, before I press escape, I will press a button called dot, a full stop. Okay. The moment I press dot, the number of times I keep pressing dot, I keep getting a copy, a repeat copy. That's the reason this is called as repeat copy or recursive copy. Now, I'll just escape. I'll press escape here and I will try to measure the gap between each of this. So, A, see here, this 0.1 micron, 0.1 and 0.1. Now this comes in very handy when you're drawing buses, or if you want to copy some instances at an equal spacing. Okay. Now here I use this as a reference point, but it's up to you. You can draw a scale and keep that as a reference, and automatically it will copy at that particular distance. So this is again another very important feature which will help you do your routing. Say for example, okay, let me just give you another example over here. Okay, let me just draw some gate source and drain. Here we have got this recursive copy. Let me just read this. Let me give you a random scenario over here. So let's assume that now this is my, let's assume that, let me just make this guy a little thinner. Even though it's an invalid bit, I will just make this as 0.3, because 0.3. Okay, you need to have a valid bit. Let's assume this just for the sake of explanation. Now I have got this. Let's assume that this is a gate, source and a drain. Okay. I will select all of this. I'll say, I'll create a small group here, create group. So all of this comes within this. I will copy this. I'll align this first. Okay, I pressed A. We'll talk about align and all of that as we go. Okay. So now over here, now if I want to copy gate, source and drain connections, multiple devices, for multiple devices which are arranged. Okay, so I just say copy once and I will press here. This is a simple way of copying a group. Now, if I have to do a recursive copy, so I just click on this, I do recursive copy, click on the edge, pick up a reference point, okay, click here. Now I will, assuming that I have got devices here, I'll click here again. Now I should not come out of that recursive copy mode, okay, I should not press escape. Being in the recursive copy mode, just keep pressing dot. Okay. So if you observe here, your source, gate, drain connections are connected automatically, assuming that all of your devices are arranged over here. Okay. So this is one simple example of showing a copy. So let's check other options over here. Now over here, let's go copy F3. Okay, now copy orthogonally, yeah. Now, another important thing here is if you want to copy with the connectivity. Okay, so now this device over here doesn't have any connectivity, and if you want multiple VDD lines, multiple VSS lines, so what I'll do is I will just copy randomly this guy. I will give connectivity to it. I'll press Q. This property editor form comes up. I'll give VSS. Okay, and click on this. Q. I'll give this as VDD. So now when I am copying, I would want to, I just don't want to copy only the nets. I want to copy the connectivity along with it. So then what I will do, I'll select this, copy F3. Okay, click on that. Once you are still in the copying mode, press F3. Now look for copy connectivity. You see here, connections, copy connectivity. Click on this, click hide. And when you get a copied version of this, observe the connectivity also gets copied. This comes in very handy when you are trying to make multiple connections. Assume that you have done some power supply connections and you have to add more VDD VSS lines and hook it up with your main circuit. Okay? That's where these kind of features come in handy, wherein giving connectivity. See, if at all you're adding a contact to it automatically based on the XL connectivity, the net will pick up the connectivity. But in case if you want to specifically, for your reference, if you want to ensure that whichever net I am drawing, it has to be VDD over here. It has to be VSS on this line. In that case, it generally helps you when you give the connectivity and then copy the connectivity as is. Okay, this is about your basic copy. Now, if I want to ensure that whatever I have copied at multiple places, right, it should behave in the same way. So now, if these lines are at 100 places, and I cannot keep going and making edits at 100 lines like this, right? It becomes very tedious, very laborious for me. So in that case, what I will do, I just pressed U to get back to this. So what I will do, along with the copy, I'll use something called as synchronous copy. Okay? In here, say for example, I select these two guys. Let's say copy, that is C, F3. I'll click on synchronous copy option. Okay. So now what happens? These two become a part of a clone family. Which means what? These guys will become a copy. Whenever I'm replicating this, what happens? If I make changes to a the new copy, the changes will reflect over here. Let me show you that. I clicked on synchronous copy. I just say hide and I will click place here. Okay. Now you see here, this automatically created a group because I created a copy from this. Okay. So the moment I copied, this created a group of its own. I'll press Q here. You see that? Copy family 0. So it puts all of this into a single family. Here it says copy family 0 of 0. I have copied. So I selected these two instances, clicked on synchronous copy, and I did this. Now, if you observe here, if at all I want to make edits at multiple places, now I'll just delete this guy for instance. Okay. I will copy this. I'll just check whether my synchronous copy is still on or no. I just click on synchronous copy, place over here. Okay. So now I want to make edits at tens of places. Here I'm just saying 3 examples. If I have to make edit at one place, I want that edit to reflect at 100 places or 10 other places. Then what do I do? So what I do is click on this, you press X. X is edit in place. Okay. You will have the top level view, but you will be able to enter this group and edit it internally. Okay. Press X over here. You see here, it gives you a clear message saying that the selected group belongs to a synchronized clone family. I selected synchronous copy, right? So it created a clone of these two nets over here. So clone in the sense whatever I make changes over here will get reflected over here. In fact, in all the 3. Okay, what it is asking is if you make any edits, okay, it will also modify the other clones. Is that okay with you? That's what it's trying to say, right? So if you don't want a particular module or particular copy to be a part of the clone family, you can very well edit it. Okay, so as of now, let me just click OK. Now I'll be able to enter this. So if you see here, if I stretch this, I click OK, all the VDDs have stretched. Now this helps you like a blessing. If at all you want to, in a very short span, quickly you want to hook up all the VDDs and VSS, just edit this in one place. Okay, put a wire over here, for example. Automatically at 10 other places, the wire will also get added. The metals will also get updated. So now, and even if you're using a devices, we'll talk about cloning and all in another session. But this is just an extension of cloning. This synchronous copy probably is an extension of clone. Okay, clone feature. So over here, if you see whatever edits I make in one group over here, clone group or synchronous copy group, it is being reflected over here. Okay, I'll just come out of this and press Shift V. So now I'm out of this. Now, if at all, there could be scenarios wherein you want to edit only these two, but you don't want to edit this guy, right? Yes, all of them you had created using a clone, right? But then there could be scenarios wherein you don't want to have a clone. There is something else over here in the circuit which is stopping you from editing this guy. So what you do is you click on this, right click, you see here, remove clone from the family. So when I click on remove clone from the family, what happens? This guy is no more a part of the clone family which we just created. If I go here, I press X, you see here, now I did not get that message saying that because I just removed it from the clone family. So when I edit this guy here, back, you don't see any other edits because I just removed this guy from the clone family. I'll come out of this. Now same thing over here, I'll select this, I'll press X, it will give me a message saying that you are still in a clone family, right? Click on this, press S, stretch it down, this guy also reduces. So the change what you're seeing over here is you have an option of creating clones and removing the devices from the clone family also. Okay? That's about copying different options. Okay, so yeah, that's about for this basic copying session wherein you have learned a multiple things: basic copying with some spacing, uh, keep copying. You have learned recursive copy. You have learned how to do a create copy connectivity, and you have also learned synchronous copy, creating clones, as well as getting a particular geometry out of a clone family also. In the next sessions, we learn lots of such interesting advanced features. Thank you.